fear through Killarney. Now I'm back to hitching with the wind. But if Mickey Flynn should ever find me, I'll throw me caution all behind me and square off on that son of a bitch again. He cracked open a river too, he beat me Sunday through and through, danced a jig over my unconscious frame. I won me healthy sheriff fights, well lucky son, still have me life since Mickey Flynn beat me dumb and lame.
Hello and welcome to Backyard Beers and Football. I am your host, co-host Shane, and I am joined, as always, by my host, co-host Rob. 3 minutes ago, we just talked about John Malley, so we're quite happy right now here at AMYP Studios. Rob, how are you?
As you said, I'm quite happy. John Malley is no longer the hitting coach of the Philadelphia Phillies, bringing Charlie Manuel, but more importantly, Eagles football is getting closer. Actually, technically, it's already started. We've got a preseason game with Jacksonville coming up now.
Yes.
So,
which
regular season football right around the corner. Can't complain.
Cannot complain. Super stoked. So this week we have, we're going to do a divisional breakdown here as kind of a more serious and actual analytical thought process as to who and why we believe are going to represent their divisions in the playoffs and wildcard contenders, things of the sort. We have, as always, Elaine Johnson's Groundhog Advice Column. Again, if you aren't familiar with that, it was due to referencing a Lane Johnson interview on WIP Midday Show about him asking for advice on how to shoot a groundhog, essentially, paraphrasing once again. We have a Rate the Drink thing that we will end with, as always now, which, again, I have to thank Bobby. Thank you again for pointing out the fact that our show is called Backyard Beers and Football, and we did not talk about alcohol in our pilot episode, which he was quite disappointed in, so thank you very much for that. We will make that a mainstay as we will sit here and diagnose Rob's drink of choice for the week, and I think I'm forgetting something. What am I forgetting here? There's another segment bit in here somewhere that I'm sure I'll remember as we go through.
We'll find it.
Food.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
What food you should be eating and what is or is not allowed during your weeks for NFL football on Sunday. All right, so let's start with divisional breakdowns. We'll save the NFC East for last. So let's start with the AFC East, and this is never an interesting division because it's just the Patriots and move on in life. Do you have any surprises out of this division? Anyone who you think could potentially make the playoffs in a wildcard position?
Actually, I do. And this is the boldest take I think I probably had on the
Do you really think Le'Veon Bell and the Jets are going to make the playoffs?
I think they're going to win the division.
What the fuck?
I think they're going to win the division. I think that's more because I see the Patriots taking a pretty significant step back this year. I think Brady's finally going to show his age, and without Gronkowski, they're going to take a pretty decent step back. You know
Gronk's going to come back like halfway through this year if they're in trouble.
He's still going to be half of what he was, even if he did. So, yes, I have the New York Jets and Sam Darnold having his breakout season, winning that division with the Patriots snagging a wildcard spot.
Well, that is bold, and I'm really glad I now started with the AFC East, which, by the way, for listeners, we did not talk about our predictions before this, especially because last night we literally just built the show out for this, or the notes out for this show. The freaking Jet, I'm writing that down. That's going in the black book for something, even if we're not betting on it. That's fucking absurd. New York Jets, Rob, win division. All right.
You'll be saying, holy shit, he was right in a few months.
Apparently, when I sit here and I take a look at my calendar from 2016 that I still take notes on right in front of us here, the last time I bought a desktop calendar. Jesus. So I have to ask, what is the reason for it? Do you think that Le'Veon Bell kind of helps assert Donald to a new level of competitor right now? Or
it adds a new wrinkle to the offense. Last year, he didn't have much in the way of weapons. He has Le'Veon Bell now. I think
he had Isaiah Crowell and he had Agunya whatever and the fucking tight end.
Yeah, but neither of them are Le'Veon Bell.
They are not.
Le'Veon Bell is probably, he's at the very least a top 5 running back in the NFL.
Yeah, I would agree. He's probably top 2, 3.
Yeah, and that's going to be huge for him because I think with a running back, we could see Darnold break out the way that Carson Wentz did in his second year.
Do you trust that Adam Gase is not going to overdose on smelling salts?
I do not trust that, but hey, Adam Gase even got the Miami to the playoffs once.
So. Ryan Tannehill got them to the playoffs.
Okay, that's going to be the same case with Darnold this year.
Probably. Which, did you see that video, by the way, of him with the smelling salts? That guy's a lunatic.
Yeah, he's crazy.
He's absolutely absurd.
He is a weird dude.
So I do not have the same bold prediction out of this one. I think this is going to be, again, a very boring division to sit here and try to predict. I do think New England is going to win. I don't know that they're going to run away with it. Probably somewhere 10-6 this year. But
I had the Patriots had the Jets at 11-5.
You have the Jets at 11-5. My kind of dark horse candidate in that is probably Miami, if they allow Josh Rosen to actually play. I kind of look at him and I don't know. I see that like he wasn't a number 1 pick, right? He was like number 4 or number 3. I don't remember where he was.
I think 4 sounds about right.
Yeah, somewhere in that in Arizona, and obviously things don't work out, and then a victim of circumstance. How do you not take Kyler Murray in that situation, especially given the fact that Cliff Kingsbury is over there coaching? Now he just found himself getting shipped over to Miami, and I think that there's like a bit of a killer instinct that wants to basically be a fuck you guy, and I think if someone in that division is going to make some kind of surprise noise, I think it'll be Miami. But I do still think by and large it'll be the Patriots who come away with it. So that'll be interesting. Why no love for the Bills, by the way? You not a fan? Not a fan of the worst organization in sports besides the Phillies?
I like Josh Allen. I think he has potential as a quarterback. I just don't think he has enough around him.
Yeah,
I mean, this is a team that was extremely lucky to sneak into the playoffs 2 years ago.
Yeah,
thanks to Cincinnati beating Baltimore on the
last day. Yeah,
they were very lucky to do that, and then they showed their true colors last year. We're not a very good team. Like I said, Josh Allen, I think he's a nice quarterback, but he's got nothing around him.
Yeah, I would agree. He's certainly exciting and he's multidimensional, which is what you need out of quarterbacks these days. Let's roll to the AFC North, which in my opinion is probably one of, if not the most competitive division in football. You have the Ravens, Steelers, Browns, and Bengals, all of whom I can see the Bengals probably being the least exciting of the 4, specifically because I don't understand what is wrong with them every year. They have talent that just never seems to execute appropriately. But certainly top heavy there with the first 3. Who do you have taking the division here?
I got Cleveland.
You're damn right you do, and so do I.
I've got Cleveland. OBJ and why am I missing the quarterback?
Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield. It's too early in the morning right now.
Baker Mayfield is the funniest interview in the
awesome.
NFL right now. He is gold.
He is the personality of the NFL right now.
Oh, yeah. He is exactly who you would want out of a superstar in your town. And I say that, and I say this next part, knowing that I'll probably take a little heat for it, but the fact that he still can joke about in some type of way about his arrest in college, and the fact that he sits there and says, "Oh, what's been the most important thing that you've learned year 1 to 2 or whatever it is?" He's like, "Oh, don't run from the cops." The fact that it's still a joke bit for him shows that there's he has matured, but he's still keeping in touch with some of that quirky personality and that kind of superstar-ish personality.
He's still got that looseness about him.
Yeah, he's got a swagger, man. Yeah. He is a fun quarterback to watch, and he's a fun interview. He's just a fun dude. So I also have the Browns winning that. I just think that there are so many electrically explosive options on both offensive side of the football and defensive side of the football over there. They're fast, they're athletic, and they've just been so bad for so long that last year was such a breath of fresh air. I picked them every single week to win, no matter who the hell they were playing.
And you were right almost half the time.
I was right almost half the time. That is correct. I was right 7.5 times, if you will, last year with their one tie. But all right, any surprise? And again, I do think this is a deeper division, so I do think at least one of the wildcard teams is going to come out of this. Do you think that one of the Ravens, Steelers, or Bengals have a shot?
I actually do not have a wildcard team coming from this division. I think that the Ravens and the Steelers are going to be both right around 9-7, but they'll do enough work, knocking each other out. I think that I actually have the wild card going to the Chargers in the West.
The West is another. I forgot about.
Yeah,
another really good division.
But I mean not the Bengals, the Ravens and the Steelers. They'll both be in contention. They'll both probably be in it until week 17, week 16. But I see them beating up on each other a little bit too much, and neither team ends up making it. And then the Browns end up winning probably about 2 games.
So I think of the two, the Ravens or Steelers, I think it would be the Ravens. I do think
I agree
that
with the Ravens.
the Steelers losing Le'Veon, again, playing all year last year without him anyway, but then losing AB. Ben Roethlisberger is nuts. I do love Juju Smith. I think he's explosively exciting and talented on the offensive side there. I just don't know that there's enough, defensively, depth-wise there, and the offense has certainly taken a weapons hit. And last year, while James Conner was really good, I don't know that you repeat that at the running backs position. Last year he was playing under the possibility that Le'Veon could come back any week for at least, the first 9 weeks of the season, whatever it is, until you can't come back anymore, during a holdout. So I think he was playing with a little bit of an edge and chip, knowing that, I'm going to lose some carries soon, and it never happened. So I don't know how he's going to handle that going into this year. But the Ravens have a quarterback who is not a quarterback, but a very, very exciting athlete, to say the least. There is offensive weapons over there now, and the defense has improved, so long as Earl Thomas stays healthy.
Well, the defense did lose C.J. Mosley. That's going to be a big loss for them.
It is going to be huge.
A perennial Pro Bowl linebacker, who, by the way, is another reason why I think the Jets make the playoffs this year.
Yeah. Well,
it'll be interesting to see how things unfold in the NFC North, but I do see Cleveland taking it, though.
Yeah, I'm excited that we both have Cleveland. So my family has put together a pick'ems pool, kind of like what we do, except it's for money, and I'm excited about it, and it should be fantastic. But they don't know me yet. Like my own family does not know me very well. They're going to see me pick the Browns every goddamn week, and they're going to be like, what is wrong with this guy? I'm like, just donating to the winners. Don't worry about it.
I can tell you one listener is very happy to be hearing all this Browns love.
Drayton.
Yeah, my buddy Drayton.
Your buddy Drayton, yeah. What was the Browns will not suck this year? Was that his name last year?
Yeah, it was.
I fucking love that.
And he was, for the most part, right.
Yeah, 7.5 times. He was correct.
Yeah.
And had they had a fucking field goal kicker, they'd probably have won 10 games last year.
If they didn't have Hugh Jackson as their head coach for
the first 4 games, yeah, or whatever it was. All right, so let's stroll to the AFC South. I'm never really impressed with this division as a whole. I never, even when teams are good out of this division, I don't really see them as a massive threat. But you have the Texans, Colts, Titans, and Jags. Texans obviously have the most explosive of the quarterbacks, but a lot of holes offensively and defensively, and actively looking to move on from one of their top 2 defensive players. The Colts have Andrew Luck, who is hurt again with an ankle injury this time, so who the hell knows what's going on with him. The Titans are still confused that Mariota is their starting quarterback and not Ryan Tannehill. They're making a drastic life issue or problem there. And then the Jags, obviously, with Nick Foles, have improved their quarterback room, but I don't know how much. Who do you have winning this division?
I've got Houston winning it. Yeah, I think that they're far and away the most talented team in the division. I do see it as being a pretty balanced division, at least competitively amongst themselves. But I see Houston winning somewhere in the ballpark of, say, 11 games.
Yeah, same as last year.
Somewhere around there.
I also have Houston tentatively winning this one. A lot of it has to do with what the Clowney situation kind of unfolds to. A lot's been made that he's been made available. If they move on from him, what kind of package do they get? Do they solidify that offensive line? Do they find an additional running back? Do they re-strengthen the defensive line? What do they do there? And is it impactful players right now, or is it future draft picks? What is it right now that is going to make them click after that trade goes through with whomever that trade partner ends up being?
Personally, I think it's got to be the offensive line. You want to protect your franchise player, Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, who's already had the ACL, so which that happened in practice, but still, freak things. You don't want to risk him hurting that ligament again, or anything for that matter. But I do think Houston is certainly the most exciting if all things can work out for them. If Andrew Luck can stay healthy, I think the Colts are great. I think Frank Reich is a phenomenal coach, and I think he's the perfect coach for Indianapolis. Tennessee always kind of intrigues me. I think Vrabel is another one who is a good young coach and has a connectability with his team and a ballsiness to him that I don't think a lot of coaches have. I genuinely think he's coaching like I'm not expected to make the playoffs anyway, so fuck it, and it works out a lot. I don't know if that riskiness is always going to lend itself to reward, but but I respect it. So they interest me. If they can continue on some of the same luck pattern with, a lot of their riskier in-game decisions, they could surprise. And Jacksonville, look, their defense was not what it was supposed to be last year. They dealt with some injuries. I think that if Jalen Ramsey can just shut his mouth and play this year and allow his on-field, talent to sit there and dictate how much he's going to get paid eventually, I think that team could be very good. I do think the balance is going to be there with Jacksonville. So this is one of those divisions that I can genuinely sit there, put 4 names in a hat, shake it around, pull a name out, and just be okay with whomever wins this division. So I don't have a true pick on this. You take Houston. I think it will be Houston, but I would say if Luck is healthy, it's going to be Indianapolis.
See, that's the thing with the Colts. I don't trust Andrew Luck's health. I have them finishing 3rd in the division. I have Jacksonville being 2nd, then Tennessee being 4th. I think that Nick Foles is going to...
You don't think Brissett can come in there and lead the Colts to victory?
I don't know. Maybe what do? They bring him in at the end of the games to throw Hail
Mary since Luck doesn't have an arm anymore.
Yeah.
Which, dude, credit to him. The fact that you don't have a legitimate NFL power arm any longer and you're that good of a quarterback even still. Like, Peyton Manning never had a great arm. Like, he kind of threw ducks when he threw deep balls, but he was so surgical from, 25 yards and in that it didn't matter. Seam routes, out routes, didn't matter. He had the timing down with every receiver. He cut up defenses. But the fact that, for final plays of games, if you got to throw the football more than 40, 50 yards, they bring in Brissett.
It's
hilarious.
Speaking of deep balls, though, Nick Foles is one of the best deep balls in the NFL.
He's got such a nice soft touch there.
I think D.D. Westbrook is not a great receiver, but he's got speed. I think that him and Foles could have a great connection down there in Jacksonville.
For one of the good guys in football and one of the good guys in sports, I genuinely hope that this isn't another St. Louis trip for him. When he went to St. Louis and then prior to going over, he never made it over to LA. It was St. Louis and then Kansas City. But he never really regained his footing professionally outside of Philadelphia. And while he had a nice game and a half, 2.5 games, whatever it was, in relief in KC, largely his only real talk points have been what he's done in Philadelphia. And for a good guy in the game, he deserves to have a team of his own and not have to share that, title of starting quarterback, as he basically had to here in Philadelphia. So I hope that the Jags at least put together a respectable enough season for him.
By the way, really cool of him to leave the number 9 here in Philadelphia.
I meant to touch on that. I did. It was a very Nick Foles answer, and I respect the hell out of that.
I think that one day we should see that number hanging from the rafters at the link.
I don't know about that. I suppose, considering he gave us the first Super Bowl and electrically good performance.
Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah. But I don't know. We'll see. He's definitely one of the good guys in Philly sports and one of the good guys in football as a whole. So let's go to the AFC West here. This is the division that is probably going to have 2 people come out of it in the playoffs: the Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos, and Raiders. So you had already said the Chargers are your wild card team. So you think the Chiefs again are taking the division?
I think the Chiefs put together the best regular season record in the NFL.
Holy shit.
Yeah, obviously, clearly number 1 seed in the AFC. I think that they finish. It's going to be them or the Eagles for the best record in the NFL. And I think I'll give the edge to the Chiefs.
Well, Baby Steve would love it if that prediction made and rang true, and that carried straight through to the Super Bowl in his parlay bet, which his slips are still here. I think it was $320 on a $10 bet, a $10 parlay or whatever.
You got them right in front of me here.
Yeah, go ahead and take a look. Which, by the way, speaking of, me and Baby Steve will be putting together a Chiefs show for you for reasons of, Baby Steve's own amusement. Steve has been a Chiefs fan for as long as I have known him. He'll tell you it was ever since Trent Dilfer died on the field. But we are, for those of you who love Baby Steve, and considering he hosts our most listened to segment here at AMYP, a good amount of you genuinely...
so many slips here, I can't even...
He is a bit of an addict. Genuinely loves Steve. He has decided that he is going to, in fact, put together a Chiefs show, and I will co-host with him, an Eagles fan, so this should be interesting, but he said on enough Eagles segments that I am certainly willing to do him the favor and hang out on that Chiefs segment with him.
So we're branching out and getting some Kansas City people in here.
Yeah, and look, wouldn't you know, the very first set of people that I told, we're actually doing a Chiefs show this year, there's 4 people, 3 of whom I've never met before. And the one guy goes, "That's awesome. I'm a Chiefs fan." I'm like, what the hell is happening right now? But I respect you guys for a lot of different reasons. So we are excited about that. I think it's going to be tighter than that. I think that the Chargers are really good. I think Phillip Rivers is really good and always really underappreciated. And he has 19 kids or something to feed. So he needs to hit every bonus in his contract necessary. But I am torn. Last year they both finished 12-4. I think this year they both finish 12-4. So I don't know. I don't know if you can really take one team over the other. I don't think the Broncos are going to do anything. I don't think Flacco matters in football at all anymore. And Oakland is a fucking train wreck. I just, holy shit, they are bad.
Can you tell me that did anybody not see that coming with AB?
So I talked about this on, I want to say Crossing Borders. Maybe it was one of our last shows. I can't remember. TJ's one of us. That's what I was talking with Scotty on it. We were talking about how Meta World Peace just up and changed his name to Meta World Peace, and like he's such a weird guy, and like you could tell something's not right with Ron Artest Meta World Peace. But like everything that happened with him was before social media was what it is today. And like part of me sits here and thinks, man, did we as a society fuck up AB, or is he just mentally just kind of not right now? And maybe not.
He's out there.
He's certainly out there, and like he's always been kind of a character, but wouldn't you kind of agree that society playing into, their love or hate for this guy plays a factor into his caricature and what he ends up doing, and he ends up being kind of a detriment to himself at this point?
I don't know about that. I think he's just his own worst enemy at this point. That's the way I see it being.
He's such a strange cat, man. I don't know. But if he is not mentally healthy, shit, I hope he gets the help he deserves. But he is out there. You are 100% correct with that. So nothing much more to talk about on the AFC side. Let's swing over to the NFC. We will end with the NFC East and then kick into some of these other subsegments. Let's start with the NFC North. Always an interesting division. We have the best preseason team in the history of the NFL in the Lions, apparently, according to their own Twitter. We have the Green Bay Packers, Minnesota Vikings, and Chicago Bears. Obviously, the Bears last year were kind of a surprise team. Do you see that kind of repeating? Do you see Kirk Cousins ended up learning how to, play football in meaningful games? And do you think that the Packers, now without McCarthy, have a shot at actually maximizing what Aaron Rodgers is?
I have this division coming down to the Bears and the Packers. I have the Bears eking it out by one game. I have them going 12-4. I have the Packers going 11-5, snagging a wild card spot.
Nice.
Minnesota will remain relevant for a little while, but ultimately Kirk Cousins will do what he does. He'll fall apart at the end. They'll finish somewhere around 8-8. So, yeah, I think it's going to be relatively the same as last season. You can just swap Green Bay and Minnesota as far as their places in the division. Green Bay being a wild card team.
So I actually don't think there is going to be a wild card that comes out of that division. The Bears, to me, are far and away the best. So shout out to my buddy Josh A. He is and has always been a Bears fan, and good sport, by the way. Last year when the Eagles beat them in the the divisional round. Stephanie, and LJ went over to his work with a goodie bag for him of an Eagles rally towel, an Eagles t-shirt, like a championship t-shirt. We played the fight song as we walked into his office. So we were not kind to Josh, and he was a good sport about it. But I do think the Bears are going to be a very, very good fucking team this year. I have them at 13-3 this season. So I think that they are far and away the class of the NFC North.
It's a lot of confidence in the Bears.
I do, man.
So you have them competing with the Eagles,
yep.
Presumably, for the
I have them 1-2. So NFC South, this to me is kind of another I don't know, division that really doesn't matter. But you got the Saints, Falcons, Panthers, and Bucks. Saints, yes.
I think it's a unanimous decision there. I have them actually going 12-4 and being the second seed in the NFC behind the Eagles.
So I have them the third seed at 12-4. But Atlanta, I just don't trust. Carolina, so I hate Cam Newton with everything in me. He is such a punchable person. And I cannot trust the guy. I can't trust him at the quarterback position from a health standpoint, from a clutch standpoint, just nothing. I can't trust the guy.
So and then the Bucks. I have Carolina going 10-6, but missing the wild card.
I have them at 9-7. I think downstairs. I can't remember. I didn't bring my actual roster or standings back up with me. Tampa Bay, I don't trust for shit either. They're a dog shit team, so they don't matter.
No, they're the new Cleveland Browns of the NFL.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I think that they're just so poorly run. Really, ever since they won the Super Bowl, they've been irrelevant ever since then.
Yeah.
So they've had maybe a decent season here and there since then, but they're such a poorly run organization. They're constantly a turnstile of kickers and quarterbacks and coaches, and it's just a mess down there.
They are. Yeah, Tampa Bay turnstiles. I like it.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll go to the NFC West here. I think I'm going to surprise you on this one, but we have the Rams, Seahawks, 49ers, and Cardinals.
So, by surprise, I feel like you're going with the Seahawks winning the division?
Mm-mm.
Got some Kyler Murray love?
Mm-mm.
Niners?
Yeah.
God damn, you're really going Jimmy G.
I am. So last year, I did not understand. He is such an arrogant asshole. I hate Jimmy Garoppolo. And he got all this money for 2.5 games of starting, which is essentially the same thing as like Kevin Kolb getting a bunch of money, or would have been the same thing as Kevin Kolb had he gotten a bunch of money somewhere after his first 2 NFL games, throwing over 400 yards or whatever it was, and like 6 touchdowns and 2 picks, something absurd. I don't think, or I think one of those two add talent, and it's Jimmy Garoppolo. So as much as I hate him, I do think that he can do some damage over there in San Fran. I think Seattle is just, again, they're always going to be good, and they're always going to be a threat if they make the playoffs, but I think it'll be a lower seed if they do. The Rams, I just don't believe in. Like, I do not believe in McVay. I don't think, I think, I don't know, I think the NFL is kind of catching up to what his offensive genius may be. And they're aging. I don't believe in their quarterback. So I do have them as a wild card team, but San Fran I have winning this division.
So I have the Rams going 11-5, winning division. I do think that Sean McVay is kind of like a newer era Chip Kelly, and
who's less assholeian.
Yeah, and his stuff is eventually going to wear off. It already kind of has started to wear off. You saw in the Super Bowl. But I think they go 11-5, win the division. I have Seattle going 10-6, getting a wild card. Russell Wilson, he's one of my favorite players in the NFL. And I think that he alone will be enough to carry them throughout the regular season, get them a wild card spot. I don't see them going any deeper than that. Probably a second consecutive loss in the wild card, but I do see them making it.
Yeah.
And I don't believe in Jimmy G. I do not believe in Jimmy G. I think the Niners, maybe they won't be a complete train wreck this season, but I don't see them really being a contender either. And then Arizona, Kyler Murray's first year, kind of feeling things out. He's going to go through his lumps, and
he doesn't really have anything other than Fitz.
He's got
David Johnson.
David Johnson's healthy. He's got him, but yeah, it's going to be a rough season for them. I think they've got another year or two before they're maybe contending again.
Yeah, I agree. Let's get to the division that we all actually care about, and that is the NFC East. We have the Dallas Cowboys, who can't pay anybody. The Eagles, who should, in theory, run away with this division. The Redskins, who have never had a quarterback identity for, 50 years. And then the Giants, one of the worst organizations in football as well. We both have the Eagles winning this division, so let's talk anyone else. I assume, anyway, you do have the Eagles winning this division, right?
I do, yes.
All right, shit.
I have Dallas going 10-6 and losing the second wild card on the tiebreaker to Seattle.
Okay. I do also think Dallas is going to be very, very good. And I honestly have them competing with the division a little closer than I would like with the Eagles here. But ultimately, again, the Eagles have, I think, more talent and depth overall and a far better head coach.
I think it's going to play out kind of similar to the way the 2017 season did, where Dallas kind of hangs with the Eagles for the first half of the season and then fades a little bit in the second half.
Okay.
As well as the first half of the season, the Eagles were 7-1, and Dallas was maybe 6-2, 5-3, something like that.
Yes. I think it was 7-1. They were 6-2. We lost. Or no, that's right. We ran away with that. We strung off like 9 straight wins after Kansas City lost.
Yeah.
And then after that, Dallas kind of crept back up towards us. Did Dallas not win that division that year?
No, the Dallas won like 8-8. We won 13-3.
Interesting.
But Dallas, they completely fell apart.
Dak's rookie year, they went 13-3.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
The year that the Eagles won the Super Bowl, Dallas hung with them the first half of the season, and then kind of fell apart in the second half.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know. I think that there's no actual denying the talent that is over there in Dallas. I just, again, you can't trust that head coach. If Zeke doesn't play, that's a whole other mess.
I would love to see them throw the $40 million Dak's way, though.
Go ahead.
Throw another $10 million on there.
Good Lord, you better hope you draft another fucking beast at running back every year, because that man is nothing without a run game.
Yeah, but then they're not going to be able to afford to pay him after his rookie contract is up.
Doesn't matter. They just need to draft one good running back every 4 years. That's it. All right, so that was our divisional breakdown, and what do you say? Next week, we each gave our division winners on this one. Next week, let's do a mock playoff tree.
I already have it set up, but yeah, let's do that next week.
All right, we'll do that next week on a mock playoff tree. There we go. Backyard beers and football. One of us is drunk. And surprisingly, it's the one who does not, in fact, drink. So let's move into Lane Johnson's Groundhog Advice Column. Now, we have 3 that we got in this week, so we will read those. But let's start off with one that Stephanie has now called me out on what, Facebook or Twitter. What was it?
I think it was Facebook.
Facebook, great. So now all my friends and family who actually know me know this.
I already know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, well, I'm getting ahead of this one because you already texted me and said that you were going to call me out for this mess on the show at some point anyway. So here we go. Rob, I need your advice on something, and I understand the direction that this advice is going to go. Apparently, in my 29, nearly 30 years of existence, I have been showering incorrectly. I did not know that was possible. I assumed that so long as you were using soap and shampoo, and those 2 products alone, it was enough. The order didn't matter. However, Stephanie has now told me I showered incorrectly. I took a shower the other day, not any type of like actual romantic facet, just we didn't have a whole hell of a lot of hot water, I think, or we got home from the pool. I can't even remember. It doesn't matter. And she looked at me in disgust, and I was like, damn, I know I've gained some weight, but what's the problem here? She just, why do you shower like washing your body first? Now, I need advice. What is the appropriate way and pattern to a shower?
Well, you got to shower with your hair first.
Why?
Because, you put the shampoo in your hair, you wash that out, all the dirt that's in your hair and whatnot then goes down the rest of your body and gets washed off with the soap when you wash your body. Otherwise, you're washing your body first and getting that dirt off, but then the dirt and whatnot that's in your hair and all the sweat and whatnot, that goes down to the rest of your body after you wash your hair. So you might as... How does it not make sense to start from the top and work your way down?
Here's the thing. When she told me this, it does make a lot of sense. It makes so much sense. And every shower after this now, I have sat in there and I've grabbed the bar of soap and I went to go start lathering my body, and I'm like, shit, fuck. I'm not supposed to do this. So I lather up my left forearm and realize just that quickly I'm incorrect in my process. I put the soap back, I get my shampoo, and I start that way instead. So she has fixed me, apparently, but
Once
it's
again,
weird.
Stephanie is right.
She's always right, and I have to get used to saying that if I'm going to be there forever and a day. So your advice is to, in fact, listen to the woman of the household and the one who controls our relationship.
Yeah, because apparently she's the one who has common sense when it comes to showering. I
Oh, you're an asshole. All right, so I I thought all guys were the same. Like women, I understand they have this long hair and it is what it is, and it takes forever, and they got to put 19 different products in their hair and 47 different products on their skin. They use different stuff for their face than they would for their chest, and some different thing for their ass to make sure there's not stretch mark. I don't know. Their showering process is complex. Ours, I've always found to be simple. I thought every guy was the same. They grab a bar of soap, they wash both their arms, kind of do a half-assed job of their chest, spend the next 19 minutes polishing their junk, then the shampoo, and then they get out of the shower. Important things. I thought we were all the same. I didn't realize that it was, like, different.
Well, I mean, yeah, polishing the junk is obviously an important part, but looking through the comments on Stephanie's status yesterday, there are at least a dozen other guys who agreed with me. You start with the top and work
everyone agreed with you. There are only two people. Her cousin, which I love. He's one of my favorite humans on the planet.
Why? Because he showers the same way?
I guess. But by the way, he does... do you do Penhurst, the haunted asylums and stuff around the...
I haven't done Penn. I've done...
Eastern State?
Eastern State, yeah. Penhurst.
If you have any interest, we should definitely go. So he is an actor at one of those, and he said that he would get us in on a friends and family night. So he's an awesome, awesome guy. And then the other one is my buddy Al. And I can't tell if he's saying it ironically and sarcastically because of the comments, or if we just truly are the same human, just 30 years apart or 20 years apart. Either way, thank you to Steph's cousin and my buddy Al. So thank you for the advice. Where were you the first 29 years of my existence? Like, why didn't you just come in and say, Shane, you're 2 years old and you wear a tuxedo all the time. I thought you know to wash your fucking body. I do not, apparently. So, noted. Let's move on to some of our... And again, you're going to have to forgive me. I don't have glasses and I am an adult who cannot read. So I may stumble through these, especially because one of them is incredibly long and the other two are, I feel, very poorly worded. But these are from three of our listeners.
Holy shit, if I'm reading through that paper, the first one is like a goddamn paragraph.
All three of them are paragraphs. The first one's like 7 paragraphs. Not 7, but it's close.
You're writing a damn novel over there?
I don't know, man. All right, so first one reads, and we'll each give advice to these.
I'll try my best not to tune out halfway through the first one.
I'll try my best to read it effectively enough that you don't actually have to tune out. All right, so I don't know where my glasses are. This is a shit show. Shane and Rob, I need your advice on a work situation. I just got a new supervisor, and she's a real hard ass. Being that I am the most senior member of our division, I do not work on Sundays. My new boss made her first order of business explaining to me that I would be working the new midday shift, or swing shift, on Sundays from now on. Once the room cleared from the initial meeting, I asked her if there was flexibility in the decision, as it would be incredibly out of the norm to have someone in my position work anything other than my normal Monday through Saturday. Which, first of all, if you have to work Monday through Saturday, find a new fucking job. She stated that Sundays take a hit in overall productivity, and she needs a supervisor-type employee to help manage the newer team, which we do have, and then asked me if I had standing plans that would then be impacted. Well, I took the bait. I told her that my family hosts an Eagles party every Sunday, and without skipping a beat, she told me that it was not important and that she did not care. So she sounds like a cunt. Can we use cunt? Job. We're going to use that anyway.
Yeah, we're going to use it. To describe her, yes, we're going to use it.
100%. Your boss sounds like an ass. I was heated and... I forgot when I read this, so this did make me laugh. I was heated, and before I went all Andre Dillard training camp on her, I just decided to walk away. That's funny because Andre Dillard's starting fights and training camp and off-season workouts right now. The next day, she came up behind me at my desk and whispered in my ear that I could then have off every Sunday. Quote, if I fucked her a couple times a day, or a couple days a week, before the other associates get in. Now, considering that I am built like Jake Elliott, and she is built like, I don't know, Bo Scarborough, I don't think my gear would exactly be up to this task. But I really don't want to miss a Super Bowl caliber season. What do I do here? Do I take the blue pill and say fuck it?
Honestly, to me, I mean, Eagles football is everything. So if you want to keep that particular job, then yes. But my real advice to you will be to find another damn job.
Oh my God, right? Why would you stay? First of all, if you're working Monday through Saturday, which is the first thing that really drove me crazy about this. So I don't know if maybe it's like Steve, and they work bankers type of hours and things of the sort. Because I know Steve works 5 days a week, but once or twice a month he has to work like a half day on a Saturday. Okay, not great. I wouldn't necessarily voluntarily sign up for it, but it's not the worst thing. But if you're regularly working Monday through Saturday, and I guess it can't be a bank because banks aren't open on Sundays, right? Is that the one day that they definitely have off?
Yeah, they're off Sundays.
There you go. So it can't be a bank. But regardless, I don't know. So many parts of this made me laugh. The fact that you look like Jake Elliott is hilarious to me. That you're telling me that you look like a kicker, and the fact that she looks like Bo Scarborough, which is the largest running back in the history of running backs. Man, you might get broken. My advice, similarly to Rob, is find a new job. I know that the political correctness of our society would say, go to your HR department and file a complaint sexually harassment of your supervisor, but I don't give a shit about that. I am going to say, yeah, you're probably going to have to bite the bullet, man. Yeah. Picture Renee Russo. She's a babe. Maybe you'll get through it. Maybe. I don't know. Give it a shot. Jump in. Just a tip, just for a second, just to see how it feels. Man, what a scenario you are in. Good Lord.
I'm not envious of that.
Neither am I.
That's a really rough and
ordinarily
sad situation.
And also, I should probably... This begs the question. You said that you have Eagles football with your family. Now, does that mean that, like, you go to your parents' house and watch, or does that mean you're fucking married and you have people come over? Here? Like, I feel like you've left out significant detail.
If there's a wife involved here, then you need to quit that job.
You need to quit immediately.
Yeah, you need to
Jesus
move to a different freaking state than that bitch.
Oh my God. All right, man. Well, you know what? I encourage you to write back with the remainder of the details and a weekly progress report as to how your situation has unfolded. So,
yeah, let us know how the job search is going.
All right, the second one we have. All right. Hey, guys, love the show and love the column. I have something that I would like your help with. I've recently started seeing a girl from Tinder. Shocker, the app actually got me a match. Things have gone well so far, but lately she has seen how poorly I react to the Phillies. She tells me that it's incredibly off-putting and that my outbursts are childlike and that she doesn't want to watch games with me anymore. I haven't told her yet, but the Eagles bring that same reaction out of me times 1,000. I'm nervous that this won't work out.
Next.
I don't want to be dishonest, and I don't want to be disingenuous with my emotions while I watch my favorite team either. How do I navigate these waters? Well, Rob says just move on.
You need to find your... As a true Philadelphia fan, you can't censor yourself. That's not how Philadelphia fans do it.
No, that's why we have this podcast.
Exactly. You need to find a girl who is like Stephanie. She puts up with Shane's bullshit and all of his emotions.
Yes, and we both evolved from a very similar situation.
Exactly.
So
you need to find yourself a girl who will deal with it and just brush it off as being not a big deal instead of sticking with this girl who complains about it and finds a way to demean you for it.
Yeah, man, look, there's 49 different apps you could log on to right now that find different caliber girls, although it does sound as though you have not had the best of luck with those apps, at least Tinder so far. But I do have, so when I first got together with Stephanie, she hated going to games with me. I remember very vividly, I had taken her for her birthday to a game where, oh my God, I'm blanking on his name. David Buchanan was pitching, and it was going to be the Jake Thompson, which is hilarious now that I think about it. Jake Thompson's debut, Major League debut. However, the Iron Pigs made the playoffs, so they found it to be more important that he pitched in a AAA playoff game rather than a meaningless September game when they were already out of the hunt. So David Buchanan, we sat right behind the Braves dugout for this game at Citizens Bank Park. We were the first or second row there, and in the first inning, he let up like 9 runs. There was I think he had 14 hits and 5 walks, and the Phillies had 2 hits through the first 7 innings, or 1 hit and 1 walk. And I was fucking miserable, and she was just happy that we were at a baseball game. Well, we didn't talk the whole ride home. And she was like, I don't understand why you have to get that mad and let it ruin your entire day. Then Eagles season occurs, and because this is like our first year together. And then she sees how badly I would throw things and then go upstairs and watch the remainder of games up in our bedroom instead of downstairs in the main TV with the rest of the people in our home. And eventually, the more sports that she watched, mainly Flyers hockey, I credit this to her because she is this way over Flyers hockey now. A girl who did not even know what hockey was before we started dating. She gets that way. So my best advice to you is introduce her to as many different sports as you possibly can and try to inflict that same passion towards her and see if she can't gain her own. If she does, and she adapts in the ways that Stephanie has, you will have a very angry household over Philadelphia sports, which is a very happy household overall. Find yourself a Stephanie. She's a fucking keeper. But yeah, in all actuality, you said it's a relatively new, I think you said, recently started seeing. The fact that you used the word recently when saying started to see something, move on. Yeah, Rob's right.
New girl.
Get the hell out. All right, our last one. Groundhog advice needed. My wife wants to basically go full Sophia Ruxin on game days and prepare full meals for all of our adult friends. It's a nice gesture that I oddly hate. How do I slide my wife to the bench on game days without making her feel as though her efforts are totally unnecessary, which they kind of are? I love my wife, and she really is an amazing cook, and with her vastly different work schedules, this is the only time that she gets to really cook for people. I feel like if I take this away from her, she'll forever hold a grudge, a silent grudge at that, against me that will eventually blow up into one of our 3 massive annual fights a year. Help.
Well, I want to answer this question without going too much into the next topic that we're going to talk about, which is game day foods.
Oh, yeah.
You've, just let her have this one. Hey, as long as you're sitting on the couch watching the Eagles and you have some friends over, have some good company, just let her have it. If it's her, you said it's her only thing that she really gets to do all week, just let her have it.
So Rob's a much better partner than what we are, apparently. I don't know. I go back and forth with that because football, I do, and we are going to tie it into our next segment, or our next.
You do have to lay down some laws as to what food she can put out there.
That's what I was going to say. I would, if you have a partner that is willing to cook and prepare things for your parties, that's fantastic. I would take a home-cooked anything over, take out almost anything except for wings. Like, wings I have to get out. Like, wings to go. That's our spot. That's what we do. But for the most part, like, if you have a partner that wants to sit at home all Sunday morning, get up early, and enjoy what she does, or what he does, and bring everything together and prepare an awesome day of food, great. But like Rob said, if they're sitting here and they're serving like soup, salad, sorbet, a full actual entree, and not just like family style, buffet style, here's this, here's that, here's this.
Yeah, just tell her we're not in fucking France.
Sure. Like, at a certain point, why don't you just give her some menu options? Maybe she might even sit there and appreciate your input as to what it is that she's making. So if she sits there and says, hey, I'm going to make this week, why don't you just, I don't know, use your words like an adult and state, maybe not for football. How about we do this instead? I think everyone would really like it. And then when everyone undoubtedly really likes what your wife makes, which I have to assume that since you've said that she is a great cook, that people do in fact like her food, it'll be that much more validated to her that she's done a good thing, and she'll feel good about it. So yeah, let's maybe leave like the ribeyes and stuff for dinner, actual dinner parties, and then maybe just get some sliders and some comfort food out there. But one, you do sound like you have a nice wife, so don't piss her off too much. And also, if we can help in any way avoid the other 3 massive annual fights that you guys have, please reach back out to us again.
Yeah, and one more ground rule to set. No eating at the dinner table during the game. If you're going to eat at the dinner table, it got to be after the game. Otherwise, make it buffet style and let the people just carry the plate back to the couch and watch the game.
Exactly.
There is no interrupting Philadelphia Eagles football. That is the first priority over every other thing on Sundays and select Mondays and Thursdays.
Yes, it is. All right, so this has been the Lane Johnson's Groundhog Advice Column for Backyard Beers and Football. This was cool. So this is our 3rd episode, and this is the first one that we've had other people kind of write in. So please continue to do so. You can email us at anypodcastteam@gmail.com. If you know any of us personally, you can certainly text us. You can DM us on Twitter. Rob is at radio_Rob. I am at Shane_Mead, and the podcast is at ANY podcast. So, as Rob mentioned, for our second to last kind of bit here for this episode, we are going to go into the best foods that you can have for game days with your buddies, with your family, whomever you watch these games with. So, let's kind of go through things that are acceptable and things that are not acceptable during football games. So, let's start with your favorite thing to have for football.
Keep it simple, keep it American, burgers and dogs.
So you like the barbecue style?
I love the barbecue style. That's what you got to do. And as you said, just serve it. Everybody can come up and take their own on a plate and go back and sit on the couch and watch the game.
So I have one issue with this. My only issue with the barbecue style of things is if you are the man on the grill, you missed Deshaun Jackson scoring a 75-yard opening play touchdown against the Eagles last year. I was the barbecue guy because I'm the cook in my house. I missed the opening of that game. Now, that was a dog shit game, and things went very badly, very quickly. But that's hard. How do you rotate and how do you navigate who's on grill?
Well,
and when?
Literally rotate. I rotate the grill so it's facing the sliding glass door.
Glare.
Open the door, put the screen up. You can do that. So I'm watching the game on TV as I'm on the grill.
All right, well, I accept that. So burgers and dogs, you like? I like the barbecue style as well. I like the smoker and barbecue. I like anything pork. So if you smoke a pork shoulder, so Ian, one of our guys that comes over all the time, he's another like really, really heavy into barbecuing, and he is very good at it. But he always does a large pork shoulder in his smoker for like 12 hours, and it is like melt in your mouth, perfect. And so he always does that. So I'm a big guy and a big believer in pulled pork. If you get a bunch of half racks of ribs, full racks of ribs, whatever you want, season them up Memphis barbecue style, or any style that you please for that evening. If you have ribs starting slow cooking all day outside and you are able to bring them in, throw them on a slab and let people kind of help themselves throughout the day, I think that's another quality decision in terms of the barbecuing. So I agree with barbecuing. What's your stance on pizza for game days?
Pizza is acceptable. Yeah, it's an easy option. You can order delivery. You can get takeout. Just bring it home. Make sure you get an ample amount for everybody. Assume like 2 to 3 slices per person.
You really got it down to a science.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got it down to a science. But yeah, pizza's an acceptable option. It wouldn't be my first option, but if other things don't work out, then pizza's definitely a good second option to go to.
So I'm not a pizza guy. I feel as though the quality of pizza is watered down, and most people just want really shitty Domino's, Pizza Hut, whatever.
Okay, that's one rule. You got to go to a pizzeria,
pizza parlor, right? Pizzeria, pizza parlor. That's what you got to go for. Here's my problem with pizza: if it's there, people are going to not going to not eat that. Like, no matter what you've cooked, no matter what you've prepared, if pizza is there, it's a quick, easy option. It sits in your hand. You don't need a plate. You just walk around with it. If you make pulled pork, if you make meatballs, if you make cheesesteaks, if you make have a taco bar or anything like that, like, that's not going to beat pizza because pizza's there. So I actually hate having pizza for game day parties because I feel as though whatever else was made and provided lacks the attention it deserves. And that's not okay with me.
So you're saying pizza would be better served as the only option?
Correct. So if, say for argument's sake, you only have 4 or 5 people coming over and it's not worth making all of the barbecue. It's not worth making all of the taco bar or whatever it is that you may make that night. Then pizza is okay. Grab a couple pies that feeds your 4 to 5 people, and that is what it is. But if you have like a house like mine, where we try to have, a dozen people or whatever there every single Sunday, like, maybe not pizza. Unless, of course, we don't have, like, that's the agreed upon thing that day. If we're just doing chips, salsa, dip, whatever, and hey, everyone grab a pizza. What's your stance on pizza versus tomato pie?
Go either way.
I'm a tomato pie guy. That to me is fine.
I do like me some tomato pie as well. I could go either way on that.
I don't know who brings that for our Super Bowl party every year, but oh my God, it is fucking delicious. Whoever it is, I love you. And the fact that I've probably never thanked you for that is embarrassing. So if you listen to our segment, thank you, ma'am or sir. So one of the things that I was talking to about with Stephanie this year in terms of food was the fact that, like, I wanted to start having, like, put together a big group message or email chain and kind of pick something every week. So, like, if it is, say we're going to do dips. Someone brings a seafood type of dip, someone brings an Italian dip, someone brings like a Mexican dip, whatever it is. Like, this is what we're doing this week. Dips. Taco bar the next week. And having like a main kind of thing, and then always having wings. Because football and wings to me go hand in hand. Like, I know you're not a big wings guy. Me and L are.
I will eat them. It's
just not your first choice.
Not my first choice.
So, and it's almost always me and LJ's first choice. But for me, I like the idea of sitting there having it based upon one thing. So, like, if you were to come over for a game this year, and it's week 3, whatever, and we have a taco bar set up, is that an acceptable thing?
Yeah.
I think so, too.
Absolutely.
If we had, like an Italian night, and I had meatballs in one, and then I had, like, sausage and peppers in another, and then, like, even, I don't know, like a lasagna dip or something like that, is that acceptable?
Given the fact that I apparently don't hate Italian as much as I once thought.
It's impossible to hate Italian. I don't understand.
There are some. But yeah, I'd go for the meatballs.
Man, we actually went an hour on this segment. This is pretty solid.
We're getting into it, man.
I know. Well, see, food advice columns, and then standings. Apparently, that's the recipe to an hour-long episode.
And just Philadelphia Eagles football in general.
Oh, for sure. Our favorite, like, snack type of food, not like meal-ish type of food. So, like, are you a chips and dip guy? Are you a pretzels guy? What are you?
I'm a chips and dip guy. I love, get me some sour cream and onion chips or something like that. Get some French onion dip. Get some Tostitos and salsa.
I always find that to be a big hit. Yeah. I'm a big cheese and crackers guy. Like, I like
cheese and crackers as well.
I like to look. Yeah, I like to look more sophisticated than I am. Like
to sandwich the cheese between two crackers.
Oh yeah, I sandwich cheese between two crackers. You throw some pepperoni in there or something, some ham maybe.
It's delicious.
Oh, it's fantastic. And like Steph makes fun of me all the time because it is my favorite snack, like to just have. And then I sit there and I see her carefully placing around the spin bowl that we have that has all the variations of things, and she's like, the ratio has to be right. And I'm like, a ratio? For years she has been sitting at every wedding we go to, if they have a cheese and cracker kind of bar during the cocktail hour, she's like, the ratio's wrong, there's too much cheese and not enough crackers, people have to eat only cheese and there's no crunch to it, they've done it wrong. She has it down to a science, and man, I love her for it. But yeah, big cheese and crackers guy. So if you ever find yourself, listeners, coming over to our house, my house, for Philadelphia Eagles football, you will have taco bars, you will have barbecue nights, you will have pizza if it is a smaller party, you will have Italian weeks, we'll always have chips and dip and pretzels and different things like that. We like to eat good here, and I think, hands down, outside of wings, my favorite part of Eagles football at Casa de Mead is my buddy Ian's pulled pork. It is fucking delicious. And you want to know what else we get this year?
What do we got this year?
We get Just Food, Asian Rob, ad spot, 215-794-FOOD, 215-794-3663. Treat yourself. Take it home. Asian Rob is going to provide us with several different options. He's going to do bacon wrapped scallops for us for some of the bigger games. He is going to do... he's also going to give us a pulled pork one week. And then hot roast beef sandwiches. He'll have like a hot roast beef tray. So a lot of good like finger type of like snack food, sandwich food type things. But Just Food is delicious. And if you have not listened to any of our segments yet, you need to do the right thing. And you need to go over there and get some food. It is at Buckingham Green Shopping Center in Buckingham, PA. It is just above, or in Bucks County, PA, just above Peddler's Village. There we go. It's Just Food, 215-794-3663, 215-794-FOOD. Treat yourself, take it home, ask for Asian Rob, tell him Shane from AMYP sent you for all of your Eagle food menu items for your Eagles parties.
Nice job getting that in there.
Thank you. I almost forgot about it, and then I realized we were talking about food, and I was like, wait.
Might as well,
I have something else to add. All right, so let's get to the final category here, and the final thing that we talk about now. Thanks again, Bobby. Rate the drink. So again, I, the sober one of Whiskey Ramble and Backyard Beers and Football, I am on 2 alcoholic segments as a sober participant. I will rate the drink that Rob has put forth to kind of indicate what kind of week he has. Last week he went with a 12-pack of Miller Lite, to which I rated a 3.2 out of 10 because it's light beer, and that sounds like shit to me. That being said, his week overall last week was clearly not quite as bad as it could be, given that it only took a 3.2 drink to get him through it. So, Rob, why don't you tell us about your week and what your drink of choice will be?
Well, it's been an interesting week, kind of slow, but one drink that I've been turned on to recently, and it's actually not a beer, is the White Russian, which it tastes a lot like basically an alcoholic milkshake, pretty much. Except it's not really a milkshake. It just has the same taste as it. I don't know. I don't remember exactly what goes into it. It's like vodka and Kahlua or something like that, and some other bullshit. It tastes amazing though, and it gets you drunk pretty quickly.
So I can't remember who I was having this conversation with. I think it was Steve and Stephanie. I think. I have to assume it was alcoholic whiskey Schmitty who had kind of put forth his support of White Russians. Which, now that I remember, I'm pretty sure it was Baby Steve.
Oh yeah, it had to be Steve.
So I have to ask, were you drunk for pleasure, or were you drunk because the week was shit?
I was drunk for pleasure.
You were drunk for pleasure. So in that case, I am going to give this one a significantly higher 6.3. I like it.
Double the score of the last one.
I am going to nearly double the score of last week's 3.2. I think the White Russian suits well for a fun, drunk week for you. So congratulations on having a significantly better and more tasty week than a 12-pack of Miller Lite. This will be how we end each one of our segments, by the way, so if you ever want to kind of tap into what Rob's life is kind of like, it will more than likely be the title of a lot of our episodes now, if nothing of more substance comes out throughout the hour-long segment that we have here at Backyard Beers and Football. So this week, it's Rob and a White Russian. I hope that people take that a myriad of different ways. Any final thoughts here?
Just one more thought when it comes to food for football games. Stay away from vegan bullshit. If you're a fucking vegan... Do everyone else a favor and go buy your own damn food.
Oh,
there's no vegan bullshit allowed to be cooked for football games.
Oh, so my sister was in town the other week, and so she's not like specifically vegan. She doesn't often eat any kind of meat or fish or anything like that. So my mom, being the sweet woman that she is, she went out and bought like, I don't know, $80 worth of like vegan-esque type of food. My sister gets home and the only thing she wanted to eat was Manhattan Bagel and Yum Yum's donuts, and like that was it. So my mom got all this shit, and my sister was like, "My body's a temple. I'm gonna treat it like shit though while I'm here." So my mom, who is not a vegan, had all of this shit in her kitchen and all of this stuff that she had to then make and eat herself, so it didn't go to waste. And I don't know that she enjoyed it entirely. I don't know if she ate any of it or she may have just thrown it all away. But yeah, if you are a vegan, come with like a disclaimer, like just
buy your own food, buy your own meal. Go stop by somewhere that has vegan food and bring your own meal to the party.
My one buddy doesn't eat bacon, and he didn't know what I cook with and what I don't cook with. So one night he came over for an Eagles football game, and instead he stopped at Wawa. And everyone else was mad because everyone else, they do the good person thing, and if they don't bring anything, they kind of just chip in for beer or chip in for some of the food costs, and they'll just drop $5, $10 or whatever in a bowl, and we just kind of save it up for basically towards the Super Bowl party at the end of the year. And instead, he just kind of came with his own Wawa food and sat down, ate that, and then left at halftime quietly. It was the strangest thing ever. But Big E, we love you, kid. But yeah, nice vegan note at the end. You're going to offend some people with that. I like it.
That's basically what I was intending to do.
All right, well, that's going to be it for Backyard Beers and Football this week. We will have a Jacksonville Jaguars recap, or an Eagles-Jacksonville Jaguars recap of the Week 2 of the preseason down in Jacksonville, of which Nick Foles is not playing in. Shocker. But we will be back next week and I guess you're still on assignment next week, right?
I am, but I'll be able to do an episode.
Another thing during the day?
Yeah.
Solid. All right, that's it for Backyard Beers and Football. For Rob, I am Shane, AMYP. We will see you next week.
A fighting man I used to be, revered and feared through Killarney. Now I'm back to hitching with the wind. But if Mickey Flynn should ever find me, I'll throw me caution all behind me and square off on that son of a bitch again. He cracked open a river too, he beat me Sunday through and through, and such jig over my unconscious frame. I won me healthy sheriff fights, well lucky son still had me life since dumb and lazy.